Here are a couple action shots of the MotoZ tires in action. These tires are awesome in the dirt, awesome on the street. I highly recommend them. What's going on, guys? I'm Kyle Bradshaw, and welcome to episode 7 of MotoZ Monday. Today we're going to be talking about the MotoZ Tractionator Enduro IT tire. Now, what does IT mean? Well, it means intermediate terrain or medium terrain. This really is going to be the do-it-all tire if you're looking to get out there and get dirty on your motorcycle. Now, before we get too deep, let's dig into the naming structure of this particular tire. We have MotoZ, which is an Australian tire company. We have Tractionator. Now, Tractionator is a word that MotoZ has developed in order to discuss the way that they create the carcass of their tire. They use larger, stronger strings, so they can use less of them, so they can create a tire that is super strong, about the same weight as a motocross tire, and gives you great strength and longevity. So what that allowed them to do is to create a carcass that uses less plies, that are thicker, stronger, and more durable, and that's going to allow you to have less punctures, less flats, and an overall generally better performing tire. We then jump into Enduro. Now, Enduro really is meant to say any type of terrain across the board, over long distances, over lots of time. When you go out on an Enduro ride, you could run into anything. Anything that the book throws at you, you should be able to handle with a set of Enduro tires, and that is what MotoZ has done with this Enduro IT. If you find yourself in a lot of mud and sandy wash and stuff like that, then maybe you might want to jump over to the Enduro ST that we talked about last week. But even then, we've got guys that are running the Enduro IT on the rear and the ST on the front for those types of situations. But we'll get to that here in just a second. So as with the majority of the tires in MotoZ line, these are DOT rated. So you can run them on the street, you can run them in the dirt. They're calling this a 50-50 tire. So we know that for adventure bikes, 50-50 is going to be that halfway point where it does okay on the street and it does okay in the dirt. It's going to allow you to travel anywhere that you want to travel. That really is the big caveat. Now, if you take a look at this front tire as compared to the front tire that we looked at last week, the ST, you're going to notice the tread blocks on here are actually smaller in size than that of the ST, but they're a lot closer together. They're about 1/4 of an inch closer together than the ST. Now, having these tread blocks closer together in a more uniformed format, that's going to allow this tire to be better performing on road. It's also going to give it some decent off-road character as well. It's not going to be as great in the deep, soft, sandy stuff, but it's going to perform exceedingly well in hard pack, gravel roads, and things of that nature. Now, I was first introduced to the Enduro IT back in 2009, I believe. I was running the KTM 450 EXC that was running the Metzeler 6-Day Extreme tires. Dude, I would destroy those tires every other ride or so. So with the MotoZ tires, I found a nice alternative for the 450. This one here is called the Enduro IT. If you take a look at this, the tread pattern here in the center is very similar to the 6-Day, but on the side, you got some great contact patch. So we'll see how this runs. Up in the front here on the 450 on the 6-Day Extreme tire, what happened with this is I wear these knobs out really quickly in the braking direction. And it looks like with this MotoZ tire, I'm going to have a little bit more rubber up here in the center, and our contact patch here on the front looks pretty good. The problem with the 450 is if I run the 908 Rally Raid on the back of this thing, it just doesn't want to spin it like the 950 does. So it's not a good tire for the back of the 450. What I usually run back here is the Metzeler 6-Day Extreme. The problem with that is it wears out extremely quickly. 1 or 2 trips on the road, 100, 200 miles, toast. I put this tire on the bike and I rode half of a season. I probably did 15 trips on this tire. I rode this tire from Livermore, California, all the way into Yosemite and back on the 450. So the amount of miles that I was able to get and the amount of extremely dirty dirt that I was able to tackle on that 450. Amazing single tracks to the high Sierras, the Jeep trails, to the pavement. I mean, it was 100 miles to get home. And this tire completely took it and took it well. They have very similar tread patterns, actually. When you look at this rear tire as compared to that 6-Days tire, they're pretty similar. But the longevity and durability that I got out of the MotoZ far exceeded that 6-Day Extreme tire. I was blown away, actually. So basically, MotoZ says the reason that happened is this tire is created out of a natural and synthetic rubber compound. So there's synthetic materials in here like silica and some other things that allow this tire to be able to have more longevity than some of the other tires out there in the marketplace. Now, another feature that MotoZ touts with this tire is enhanced steering performance. What they're saying there is when you put this tire on your motorcycle, if you're coming off a straight dirt bike tire, you're gonna feel like the bike is gonna respond better on the street. It's gonna respond great in the dirt. It's gonna give you enhanced steering feeling. And they've done that because, or they've accomplished that by producing these tread blocks on the front tire that are a little bit closer together than a true knobby tire. They're a little bit more square as well. So that square lug is gonna be able to have more contact patch on the ground versus a lot of knobby tires. They actually come up to a point. They don't actually get square until you wear them down, and then it's more of a dome shape on the top, where these maintain that square profile that gives you great grip on all types of surfaces. Now really quick, let's jump into the durometer reading and tread depths of these tires. The durometer reading that I'm getting here on the rear IT is right around there between 70 and 72 on the durometer reader. Now jumping up here to the front tire, I'm actually getting varied results depending on which lug that I'm putting this durometer reader on. I'm getting anywhere between 60 and 64 on that durometer reader. So this is going to be a slightly softer tire compound than we saw last week in that ST, which I find really interesting. But then you take a look at the fact that this has a greater number of lugs on the tire itself, so you're going to actually have more rubber on the ground. Kind of makes sense. All right, let's take a look at tread depth really quick. Putting my tread depth indicator over here on the IT rear. We're looking at right around 15, 16 millimeters of tread depth. That's going to put us right at 30 seconds. And then up here on the front, let's get a good reading here as well. Let's go ahead and get this guy down. Here we're looking at right around 11 millimeters or 30 seconds. Now in summary here, I guess what we're saying is we have a very durable, long-lasting Enduro tire for you to be able to handle any terrain that you really want to tackle. Now, a big difference that I haven't discussed yet between the ST and the IT, even though the tread patterns look very similar, this is a directional tire. This tire is only meant to be run in a single direction. It's not meant to be flipped, and it's not meant to be run backwards. So keep that in mind when you're looking at these tires. This is going to be a do-it-all tire. If you want a tire that's going to perform really well due to the compound and the tread block structure, it's going to last a long time. It's going to minimize flats. It's going to minimize punctures. It's going to be very robust and be able to provide you great tire performance over the long term. The Enduro IT from MotoZ is definitely a tire I'd recommend take a look at. Now, I'd ridden that 450 EXC from 2007 to 2015 when my son was born. Over the course of that duration, I started out with the Enduro IT. I then found myself riding lots of granite and things of that nature up in the Sierra Nevadas, and I swapped over to the ST. I did that for a little while, and while the traction was okay and good, I did wear those out quite a bit quicker than that of the IT. I then was introduced to the MotoZ Mountain Hybrid. Now that's going to be the tire we're going to be talking about next week. That turned out to be a game changer. Total game changer. And there you have it. In a nutshell, the best way to describe the Enduro IT is going to be a motocross inspired tire with Enduro tire longevity and performance. And I'm Kyle Bradshaw. This here is MotoCity. Thank you guys for joining us. Until next time, take care and ride safe out there.